Welcome to another episode of Tunes at the Thompound. Jessie Lehmann is an amazing percussionist in our valley based out of Glenwood Springs. Not only is she one of the best percussionists I've had the honor of working with, she is also an instructor and drum builder. Jessie is a student, teacher, performer of West African drumming and culture. Jessie is the owner and founder of Lionheart Drumming, connecting communities one beat at a time through school programs, community classes, team building events, staff development, special needs drumming, and exciting performance. Lionheart Drumming honors our teachers who came before us and passed along the rhythms and cultures while inspiring others to live with joy through drumming. Jessie is also the percussionist and local favorite band, the Nobodies. This energetic band plays throughout the valley, most recently opening for the Wailers at the Belly Up. In this week's episode, we will discover Jessie's passion for West African drumming, her roots as a percussionist, what drives her to pass on her knowledge, and what Jessie has planned for the future. We'll also get a chance to jam out some tunes, too. Jessie, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks so much for having me.
Thanks for coming. It's a beautiful day, and it's even better that you're here. It's
Yeah,
great.
Great to be here.
Awesome. So, Jessie, when did you decide to go down the road of West African drumming?
I'd say slightly random in the fact that I found it in college. I did play music prior, but I wasn't a percussionist, although I was in my high school band as a bongo player.
Okay.
But I didn't know. I was just piddly paddling.
Sure.
I was put on there kind of like a extra, but if that makes sense. I was
Yeah,
like,
it does.
good to
I was
be,
in marching band.
yeah,
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, I was along for the ride.
Okay.
Little did I know that I actually really liked drumming. In college,
Yes.
we had a drum club and ended up like just gathering together weekly, and then we had a teacher that came in, and then we would bring other teachers in, and then ended up at the West African stuff is
Okay,
where
yes.
that went from drum circle kind of to West African drum traditional drumming.
Sure. Excellent.
Yeah.
So tell me about some of the instructors that passed this knowledge to you. What were like your early mentors? What were they like?
Yeah, so my friend Luke knew a guy from New York, but who is an African man, Madu Dembele.
Okay.
And so ended up getting him to come from New York to teach a workshop.
Gotcha. In North Carolina?
In North Carolina.
Okay,
Yeah, I
gotcha.
went to Warren Wilson College. Yeah, and outside of Asheville, North Carolina.
Awesome. Yeah, Misty's done some trips there with Yampa, correct?
South Carolina.
South Carolina. Okay, sorry.
Maybe next time.
All
Yeah.
right, there we go.
And so we brought in Madu Dembele, and that's how we got connected to the Dembele family.
Okay.
So a lot of times in the West African music, you find a teacher, and if you study with them, then you're studying the things that they learned and their family
Sure.
is a part of. So we ended up going to West Africa with him, as well as with another connection through, he's in Ivory Coast, and then we had our connection in Guinea, West Africa.
Okay.
So our teacher there was Kumana Konde,
Okay.
and he was the lead songbomb player / kind of brain of Percussions of Guinea,
Okay.
and was the musical director and one of the directors. And so we ended up having a really cool connection. The fact that he was a big time kind of artist within
Sure.
Guinea.
Okay.
We didn't know that quite, like where he was in the spectrum.
Yep. What would that equate to, like in maybe modern American music culture? Like how popular do you think this person was? In
Guinea? He went on world tour representing
Okay, sure.
Guinea, West Africa.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty big time.
Pretty big time.
Yeah.
And so we had him and the Dembeles. So those are my two lineages. And then through Kumana, we met Bolakata Konde, who later moved to the United States. And so he was also another one of my teachers. And so ended up learning mainly from, Bolakata's lineage and the Dembeles.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So this obviously, as you're learning West African drumming, you're also learning about the culture and a lot of different things. Tell me about some of the things that, besides drumming, that you learned when you were beginning? And by the way, what time period of this? What time period was this for you?
This was, I'd say, 98 was when
Okay.
the drum circles started.
Sure. Okay.
Brought in African teachers maybe in 99. In 2001, we formed a drum and dance ensemble with the information that we learned, and other people had gathered information as well. So we got together, had a 12-member drum and dance ensemble called Common Ground. Our college gave us nonprofit status, and we ended up raising $25,000 to get 12 of us and a videographer to our West Africa trip, which was 2001.
Gotcha. Okay.
So we ended up going maybe about
You were just a kid.
Yeah, 6 weeks in Guinea, and then another like 6+ in Ivory Coast.
Okay. Wow.
And yeah, so you go and you live with the families, you study every day, and then we would do kind of experiences at night, like there'd be baptisms and weddings and
Gotcha.
different events, music events, Guinea Sabar, like parties, basically street parties.
Okay.
And then we would go with our gang who would be playing them, and then kind of be along for the ride. So we would, end up, like getting to play in the streets in Guinea and Ivory Coast.
That's amazing.
For these weddings and block parties.
Wow.
Yeah, so that would be one, event. And the music was a lot different there than the traditional music we would learn during the daytime. But yeah, we would do 2 or 3 lessons a day for 6 days a week, plus the extra playing. And then go to the village. So I got a chance to go into the interior to Bolokata's village and Morawaya, where we would kind of, just see how traditional life is.
It's amazing.
Yeah. And all of that, I mean, drum and dance is intricately connected to everyday and day-to-day life, whether it might be like pounding the grains or singing inside the compound. And, so that's a big aspect, of life in West Africa.
That's amazing.
Yeah, we should go.
Yes. You are getting her psyched for this, so I'm all in for this.
Heck yeah.
I know
Like,
lots of
it'll be
people
like the one
all
time
over.
that I
Yeah,
can
it's a
get
great
him to go out of
experience.
the country.
What's that?
If I can get him to go out of the country, I'm excited.
Yeah, that
Right.
would be amazing. I would do that. I would be all about that.
You'd love it. It'd be fun because then you get your drum brain stimulated.
I think that's already
Scrambled up and
happening.
Yes.
Well, it's like every time I do a session with you, Jesse. It is. I kind of like you re-scramble things and piece them back together. It's been
Right.
great. So
Nice.
So how did Lionheart Drumming come to fruition?
I'd say that's like a configuration down the line since the 90s or that 2000s, early 2000s. With Common Ground, we were doing teaching. We did lots of lecture demos and school programming. So I had just kind of continued that in various forms
Gotcha,
since
okay.
then.
Yeah.
Whether it be with the group or by myself. So in Asheville, I had another business, but called like Petit Oiseau, which was Little Bird, and then
In what language?
a mix. That'd be French, little bird in French.
Okay, sure.
But yeah, I spelled it Wazo instead of Oiseau. I was making a play, but on words. And then I had Jessie Lehmann. .com. My brother's a website designer, so I've had variations of the theme, and then Lionheart Drumming came next.
After that, cool.
Yeah.
And so you started that before you even came to Glenwood, correct?
Right before,
okay,
I got to
gotcha.
Glenwood in 2018.
Okay, cool.
So that was right before then.
Awesome, awesome. Well, let's do a little drum jam. What do you say?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, awesome.
All right, cool.
Good job.
Jessie, tell me about your passion for teaching.
Nice. Yeah, it's always been just part of the journey of learning the West African rhythms and then sharing them. I found too that when you have to teach something, you had to really learn it.
Yep.
Too,
Yep.
you can't teach it until you absorb it inside, and so it's helped being able to, bring in new rhythms, learn new rhythms to be able to share them. For a number of years, I've done weekly classes, schools, residency programs. I created programming for adults with developmental disabilities at a summer
Wow.
camp I did 6 years straight of that,
Awesome.
and made up songs and good activities that would use drums to bring folks together. And there was cool too because a lot of some of those folks had Williams syndrome,
Okay.
which actually they have perfect pitch and have that as a trait of potential perfect pitch and really good rhythm. And so to have a gang that can play really well and
Show them once and they'd have it probably.
and
Wow.
or just we could like jam together.
Okay. Okay.
It was pretty awesome. So I've done it in contexts like that, and then worked in drug and alcohol rehab centers and brought drumming there for programming and
Amazing.
So just a variety wherever drums can be used to help people express themselves. It's fun to hit things, kind of get energy out, do something together, feel the community vibe. All those things I feel like drumming brings.
Yeah.
And then, the West African rhythms are a nice conduit to be able to bring that together and have a cultural aspect that's connected to that as well.
Again, another reach out to culture from music. That's really great.
Yeah, that's great.
Mhm.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So I'm going to recruit you to come work at my school for a minute.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, it's
So you got it on camera.
nice.
All right.
Cool. So tell me about the drum circles you host.
Nice. We just did our first one, I guess, on Thursday, a kickoff for Strawberry Days on
Yep.
East 6th Street.
Awesome.
The nice
Awesome.
tongue twister. So that I'm planning on trying to do once a month in Glenwood.
Okay. Awesome.
Yeah. And then, I teach classes in Newcastle 2 Mondays a month as well. And then they have a drum circle that happens the first Monday of every month.
Yep. Yep.
Um,
So go
yeah.
on Facebook, look at Lionheart Drumming.
yes.
So, and that's where you can find that information.
And I'll do my best to share. I'm a bad social media.
That's okay. You're a great drummer,
share
so
it.
you make up for that.
Thanks. Totally.
We could put that link maybe on the.
Yep.
On
Jeremy's
streaming.
on that one. Thank you,
There we
Jeremy.
go.
Yeah.
So, so why is West African drumming so special compared to other styles to you?
I think it's just the way the universe worked and brought me to that with a group of people that were also interested in it at the same time, and it nurtured us to be able to learn it together. Because one thing about the traditional West African things is that you need a group of people to be able to play it.
Yep.
Absolutely.
You can't just do it by yourself. Like the same way you can sort of on a regular drum set, but we would have one person. You'd want one person on the small, medium, and large of the bass drums.
You'll see. It really is the way these rhythms layer in. It's something else. So
Yeah.
sorry.
And then you would have one on each of those, and then 3 people or 2 people on djembe or variations thereof. So I just happened to have a group of people that were interested in all learning it at the same time, which was, probably the easy entry and the easy way in. It could just have been Afro-Cuban or
Gotcha. Yep.
Indian, or depending
your
on where
people.
we are. It was just where we were at that moment, getting the West African vibe.
Yeah, that's amazing.
So each of the drums that you talked about when you would get together with a group, would they each have a separate part? So like as opposed to a drum circle where we all just kind of play and have a good time, like traditional African rhythms, and you were talking about each one, would they all have separate parts?
They would, like your this is a kinkani. It's a West African bass drum. It would traditionally be played like these, which would have a bell and a stick. You would have one person on the kinkani, one person on this drum, the sangbon, and one person on the dunoon. And then you'd have an accompaniment player on djembe, another accompaniment player most likely. 6 is a sweet spot, and then you would have your soloist. Soloist would be kind of gathering the group, like in a sense, giving us calls to enter and exit,
Yep.
and conducting. And then also, if we had dancers, they'd be kind of conducting the dancers and giving signals for the dancers to change their parts together.
Yep. Okay.
And for us to come in and out at the same time.
Would it kind of, sorry.
No, great. This is great.
So would it kind of be like, I'm thinking about when you guys were just playing and a little bit of a call and response kind of situation, would that also go into West African drumming?
It can happen. Yeah, I mean, some of the breaks are set up that way, or arrangements are set up that way, and then some of the rhythms have that inherently going on.
Okay.
But it's not like, I mean, we might do it to play. Like, we would go back and forth to do a solo to get, together, but on the other side of the rhythm. But it's not like inherently like a thing that happens, but it does happen, if that makes sense.
It's not like it has to happen, but it does happen.
But it does happen, yes.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. What do you say? Let's have you work with me on the dunes.
Sure.
And what was the small
Songban.
Songban. Okay. Awesome.
Yeah.
We've been working on some rhythms here, so Jessie's gonna instruct me, and I'm gonna get my brain scrambled again, and then we're gonna come back. So.
He's a natural.
Lots of drumming geeking out tonight. It's good stuff. So before they start playing, we're going to go over the different drums because I totally would have called all of these dun duns. So this one is a dun dun.
Yep, that's the dunun. They are a family of dununs. So, like, you can call them plural of that or with that. But, yeah, this is the dunun ba. It's the big bass drum. Mm-hmm.
Right.
And then we have the middle drum. It's the songban. And that one's, like, basically could be described one way, would be sort of like the lead guitar. Like, this guy's laying down the big bass lines.
Bass drum, bass guitar, lead guitar.
Lead guitar, and then, and then our ride, this will be our ride, our kinkini, that's the kinkini drum, and that'll be our ride. So this is the highest, this is the middle, and this is the lowest.
Nice.
And that's the family.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, we have the djembes.
Yes.
Which those are different players, maybe piano players or something. I don't know.
Right, I know, with our, like, my Western comparison. But, yeah, really, like, because in a lot of these rhythms, the kinkini's going to stay the same while you play. That's why I connected with the ride. Because it's just going to keep going.
Oh, okay.
And then the songban is, if you only had one of these three, this is the rhythm that you would choose to play to delineate what rhythm you're in.
Okay.
So that's why this, I would connect it to more like your guitar or your lead. And then this is your fat bass line going around your guitar, in a sense.
All right. Cool.
Yeah.
So do I play this backwards?
You can choose. It's whichever hands you work with your brain.
Yep. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Awesome.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Very nice. Very nice.
Thank you so much, Jesse. That's great. I love that rhythm. I love how the cowbells, both our cowbells, interact with each other on that rhythm.
For sure.
It's like it's just a complete, but it's like digga, 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 all lined up, but we're not all. You're playing some of it. I'm playing some of it.
Yep.
It's awesome how
It's the beauty of the bells.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
It's way fun. Way fun.
Yeah.
So awesome. Now that's called casa.
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 Yeah.
Okay. And tell me, what do you know about casa? Tell me about
Farming
casa.
rhythm from Guinea,
Okay.
West Africa.
Awesome.
So yeah, a lot of times like folks will, the whole village will help with the farming, with the hoeing. Women will gather and support all the folks who are doing the hard work in the fields,
Okay.
make food. They play this rhythm, and it's kind of like work juice.
All
Is the way I
right.
see it.
Nice.
Awesome.
Music makes chores easier.
Yeah.
Yep. Wow. That's awesome. So let's talk. We kind of did talk a little bit about what each role. What do you play mostly? What did you play mostly when you were doing the African
Ensemble.
ensembles? What were you doing?
Different things in different
Okay.
groups, depending on sort of where I fit with my skill level and who I was playing with.
Sure. Yeah.
Right. So in beginning groups, or I would play kinkini, accompaniment djembe. We would do all the breaks together, but you have your role, different rhythms. You might play a different thing because we would take turns.
Mm-hmm.
In other groups, just djembe. Yeah,
Mhm.
mainly like a lot of, as you grow up, djembe and kinkini
Yeah.
are like how you get trained
Mhm.
to be a lead djembe player or a dundun sangban player
Mhm.
in context, because these two are allowed to change when you're playing your rhythm. So we start out by learning, just one way to do it, but then in context, you'd be allowed to go on a run
Okay.
Right.
and,
Gotcha.
like emphasize the dancer most of the time.
Yep.
Okay.
Is what you would be working with, or what your focus would be to enhance kind of the connection between the music and what the dancers are doing, or is that one dancer is doing.
Okay.
Um,
So would the lead djembe player kind of facilitate that, maybe?
Yes, the
Okay.
lead and the dundun are a big team.
Okay.
In surging, and then in marking the dance, like moves, like they'd hit
Okay.
on these moves. So you would emphasize certain things.
Gotcha.
The more you know the language, the more you might emphasize as you learn more and more.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah, I was wondering, would you say that most of the African rhythms and drumming are more orchestrated or more improv?
Definitely orchestrated.
Okay.
Because you're learning the dundun line, sangban line, kinkini line. There'd be like traditional ways to play it or regional ways to play it.
Okay.
Then you would learn the djembe accompaniments, and then you would learn solos to those rhythms that go with the dance.
Okay.
And those would
And
be
the
a
solos
particular.
are even orchestrated, or is that
Yeah,
even
the
improv?
solos would
Okay.
be mimicking a lot of times what the feet are doing for the
Okay,
dancers,
gotcha.
or what the kind of combo feet and arms, the feeling for that move is. Sometimes there'd be traditional ones you can learn, or ways to start entering the language. But as like a veteran or a master djembe player, it's not like that's what they're doing when they're marking the dance, but that's how we as foreigners in a sense learn
Okay.
the beginning of the language.
Okay. Awesome.
But yeah, you would memorize, like I have a memorized solo that I learned from Bolakata, for Casa.
Okay. Awesome.
And so it fits. The puzzle, it's really good because it's like a puzzle piece that fits.
Playing just those two parts, that's what it feels like.
Yes.
It really does.
And so each rhythm has 6 parts, 5, 6 parts, maybe more, maybe a little bit less. But that's how the puzzle is for each rhythm.
Yeah. Amazing.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, let's do Soko. Is that
Yeah,
did I
you
say
want to
that
try
right?
Soko? Yeah.
Yep. Why don't you explain a little bit about Soko and what that is? Where did that come from?
Guinea, West Africa,
Okay.
a guy's dance.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, we're going to workshop this a little bit. I may have to get reminded. We kind of worked this. Like the first time I've heard this was right before. So, and Jessie is an amazing teacher. So,
Here you go. So as you guys are setting up, just thinking about each of these drums, you were talking about them. What are they made of?
Yes. So full body tree from Guinea that's hollowed out, and then cow skins and rope.
Right. Awesome.
Yep, for all three basically.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's completely different than how like a drum shell is made. That is like essentially flattened
And then
plywood and then
rolled. Yeah.
And that's how. So it's not a hollowed out any kind of log. It's just sheets of. But they did use up into the 50s. They still used calfskin heads on drum sets.
Okay.
So, but yeah.
Nice. Right, I know this one has fur, so that as you're like getting set up, you guys can go ahead. I just like if you get a zoom in on this one, it has fur on the top, so it's the cow is recent, it seems. And so does the Kikini also has fur. Nice. Very good.
Good job.
Thank you.
That was great.
I love that so much. All right, so this is technically a dinger, right?
That's what we've called it for
And
a
it's
long time.
Metal rod.
Yes.
That's cool.
You can also use nuts.
Nuts.
Yeah, like the round, nut and bolt.
Okay.
Oh.
Okay.
The nut.
Okay. Yeah.
So yeah.
You want a metallic sound.
So you have metal
Yeah.
on metal.
And then this is a big fat, what I would consider a 2A drumstick, close to that without the thing.
Kind of like a marching stick.
Yeah.
almost.
I get
or
an
2B.
oak-
I'm sorry,
I
not a
get
2A.
oak
2B.
dowels
Yep.
Yeah.
from
Like
the
craft
store, and then,
section in the
yeah.
store?
and then
Oh, wow.
you cut them and sand them.
Oh, dang. Okay.
Yep.
So you could also do crafts with.
Yes, I make drums too. Same kind of thing. You put them
Drums.
together.
There
Yep.
you go.
Yeah.
So tell me about the drums that you did you make this drum?
No, I got
Okay.
that my first trip to West Africa, or second trip in 2007. That my teacher Masta ended up putting this drum together. We brought
Nice.
rope from the States, and then he put it together, and then Bolakata put this drum together.
Okay.
My teacher, my friend McClellan, put this drum together.
Gotcha.
I put this drum together,
Nice. And this drum together.
And that drum. Yep.
Yep.
And they actually from the same era of that
Okay.
rope that I had, so they're cousins.
Cousins.
And then ended up fixing this drum and putting a skin on this guy.
I'll show what the project you're going to start here in
Yeah.
a minute.
So yeah, this one down here was a drum that we kind of inherited from the Jupiter Hollow days. And then this drum that he's bringing out is a drum that Clint and I got, I'd say 20 years ago, and at PASIC conference, and you keep ripping it. Oh my goodness.
It's done.
Yeah, it's fine.
Well, yeah, you
Then-
can look at the rim on this.
Yeah.
Like on a drum set, this would be a real precise bearing edge. But like here, you got some chunk coming off right here. So, I mean, that's
It
the
depends. Some of
uniqueness.
them will work on the bearing edge, but sometimes they haven't been worked on yet.
Yeah.
But like if we took Ferrari apart, like this edge is really smooth.
Okay.
Okay.
Cool. All right.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, this one's never been worked on in the 20 years that we've had it, other than to tighten it up.
Been played a
So,
lot.
It gave up the ghost though, and they told us this was goat skin
Yeah.
as opposed to cow.
Yes, for djembes, usually use goat.
Yeah. Okay.
Sometimes you can use cow. People like it. It's an aesthetic of a sound from
Okay.
that we saw a lot in Ivory Coast a while back. But yeah, and people still do it. It just is. It's an aesthetic,
Okay.
and it's harder on your hands.
Goat is
Goat
harder.
is harder?
The
Oh,
cow is
okay.
harder on your
Yeah,
hands.
that
Okay,
makes
good. Then we
sense.
should
Yeah.
definitely go goat.
Goat's like a nicer one, yeah, for
Yep.
sure.
Has anyone ever used deer?
Yeah,
Okay.
people have used deer,
Deer
elk,
Okay.
and other things. Yeah, people have tried a bunch of different type. What am I trying to think of? Something else. I don't remember right now, but
Gotcha.
whatever skin you
Buffalo.
can try. They have different constitutions. And goat's kind of nice on your hands and lenient. Some of the others that are stiffer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, same thing with the cow.
Okay.
But it has to be calf belly.
Oh, okay. So they have different sounds depending on the animal skin that you're using.
Yes.
And then some you would leave the hair on, and some not.
Yeah, for the Dununs, you would. It's personal preference.
Okay.
Some skins, like I don't think this one had hair on it. Like that's why it still doesn't. And then a lot of times we'll play the hair off.
Yeah.
Okay.
For djembes, you don't want hair on it
I
because
was
of the
going to say,
resonance.
if you
want to
restring
have.
this one, I don't want hair on it.
Yeah. Sometimes
You don't want a hairy djembe.
I
people
don't.
have it so right. So the hair's like down to here, but
Yep.
a lot of times.
Yeah, this
You
drum.
don't want hair on the playing surface.
This drum is Clint's from quite a while ago, and it has a little hair on the edges here.
Yeah. That's actually been reskinned a couple times.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
But you've had that one
that hair.
since the 90s, right?
Yep.
Nice.
Yep. I got this drum. Well, these two we got at the same time. A friend of mine, Heather Lamb, got this, and so she got that, and then I got this drum in
Okay.
like '94, I think. Yeah.
And these were both made in the United States.
Yeah.
The wood is from the United States and things like that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
I
so-
think. I mean, that's a long time ago, but I think cherry, maybe a walnut. I have no idea. So lots happened since then. So
Totally.
cool. You've been building drums. Did you learn that along the same time that you were learning to play drums? How did that come to be?
I ended up helping my friends. We would reskin drums and
Okay.
have the process. And then really I learned from my buddy McClellan, who's in Asheville, and I would go over his house and hang out, and he would work on my drums. So I did that for 20 years.
Cool.
I realized, but I never really had that inclination to do it myself very much.
Okay.
And he
okay.
was really good at it. So I would just go and get a professional, because sometimes when you're learning, you can make them boingy, or you
Right.
might not pull them tight enough, or you have a learning curve in getting your drum to sound good. But I always wanted it to sound good for our gigs
Right.
without my kind of figuring it out on my drumming.
Sure.
So I just watched McClellan for 20 years, and then when I moved here, there was no McClellan.
Yep. Yep.
You had to
So
be
I went to skid a drum, and it turns out I knew how to do it.
Nice.
Well, you did an
And
amazing job
yeah.
on this one too.
Yeah,
it sounds
thanks,
freaking
yeah.
fabulous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was more out of necessity.
So you just do the heads, you rehead drums, but you haven't made the whole.
No,
hollow
I
out of
haven't
log
carved out a
situation?
shell.
Okay.
Yeah, I have lots of friends that have gone that path, but yeah, no, I just put new skins on
Okay.
on heads, and then this was our first conga that we did, me and Marty. So
Yeah, that one sounds great too.
yeah,
It
for
does.
sure. And that's
I mean,
got a cow skin on
There's
it.
there's an art to even putting on just a a synthetic head on a drum kit. I can't imagine the work, the labor, the more intensiveness of that process. So making it precise and right. So
Yeah, a djembe can take like 3 hours plus,
yeah,
depending, but that's with getting everything ready. But just to put the skin on. But yeah, you have rings in here too, and you're gonna wrap your rings and then put your hitches on and put all these ropes on, and then hitches down here as well, and then lace up your 70-foot of rope through each hitch. So if you miss one or make a mistake, there's no just like shortcut to
Yep,
getting
going
back to that
back.
loop, right? You just have to go all the way back around and like make it happen.
And-
So it can be intense, but it's rewarding because
Nice.
it's pretty cool. You're bringing something to life.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And then to tighten them, then you're just tying knots. Essentially, it's kind of a bit like, I don't know, crocheting. I think like
Yeah.
the way that the knots work together.
Yeah.
This is me being the novice and like trying to.
No,
equate it
for
to
sure.
things that I
Yeah, that's
know.
what you pull up. All the verticals were first tight, and then we have a pulling table now. So in the olden days, we would use a stick. People still
Yeah,
do,
yeah,
and
yeah.
twist the stick, and then get
Right.
the torque and use your legs and pull it back, and then
seen you
use
do
vice
that.
I've
grips.
seen you do that. And like,
Yeah. Right, and use vice grips and get it that way, and then you make it tight. But now I have a pulling table with a pulley
Yep.
and a special grip for the rope, and you get a lot more force to go down. Use your legs, and you can use your eyes to keep it straight.
Nice.
Your rings and everything. So it's an easier method, or I find it easier method than the way we used to do it.
Yeah.
But yeah.
You were saying earlier, maybe just in a conversation beforehand, about how this environment is way better and easier on
yeah,
this kind
I
of
think
heads.
we were talking about our head.
Oh
busting.
yeah, just being in Colorado versus Western North Carolina.
Yep.
Yeah, where the humidity in North Carolina is so
Right.
high and fluctuations in heat. That I found my skins last a lot longer here.
Okay.
You're also not sweating on them as much because
Yep.
our sweat evaporates.
Right.
Yep.
So all of that, has led my skins. I've been pretty happy. I mean, watch one break later, but like,
Right on the show.
that's all, But yeah, all in all, like, I think I put this on when I first moved here in 2018
Gotcha.
or 19. So it's
Wow.
been on since then, which is good for
As much as you
skin
play
Yeah.
too.
and with how tight it is.
Yeah.
Right.
yeah.
If it was loose, you don't have the same worry
That's
about
why I've
breaking
never
it.
tightened that one, because I've really been worried about
Yeah, ripping the head or whatever.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
that's like the third head I've had on that one, I think. And so I've never really cranked it down tight
Yeah.
because of that.
Mhm.
It's very boomy.
It is
also.
very boom. But I'll
Mhm.
say, like, even whenever we had all the rain recently, I came in to play that djembe, and I was going to take it on a gig, and it was like, and
Yeah.
it was real loose. But this one that you did was still tight and sounded good.
Nice.
So
Yeah.
I played that up at Heather's when it was pouring in basalt. So, and it still sounded great.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Awesome.
Well, cool. So let's go back to Casa,
Okay, yeah.
and let's set up for the multi-dununs.
Yeah, before we were playing traditional, and now we're going to play ballet style, and then I'll play on djembe.
Did you say ballet style? What?
Yes.
Okay.
So-
Like
yeah.
dancing?
Yeah, like it's just, in the 1950s, like a lot of folks in West Africa started doing more world tours, and so they would
Okay.
gather people to be on stage instead
Okay.
of being used like drum and dance, being used like personally or in a traditional context. It was made for stage.
Oh, okay.
So they like shrunk down their gang, and didn't take the 6 people and maybe took 3.
Okay.
And then one person could play all 3 drums at once. But they were in Guinea, French colonized, so some words like were used to describe different aspects of.
Oh, okay.
This could be
Life.
where really, really where drum set playing came from, because what they would do, like, not necessarily like here in the United States, they would, before they had a drum set, they invented a kick drum pedal. There were multiple people playing the drum parts.
Right, right.
And so, I mean, this is going to be kind of a pared down version of that.
Yeah,
right?
so it's like doing the same rhythm that we did prior, casa, but then sometimes you shrink notes and where you can't play all of them, you can smush them and then overlap them, and then one person can play the foundation of that rhythm by themselves.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which is what I'm going to try to do.
All right.
Totally. All right.
That's awesome.
We're going to do it.
Thank you for indulging me. Yes, thank you. Yeah, that is awesome. I love that, man. That playing those drums though it's like it's a different kind of power. It's just like these.
Right.
I mean, everything about it is like strength and power to me.
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
I mean, big
Get
sticks.
some muscles.
Yeah.
Yep. I know, man. Work out.
You talk about having Dunoon arm when you play the traditional style because you have
Yes.
your dinger hand, fast twitch muscles,
Right.
and then your big swinging hand and the
like
drop
Popeye.
shoulder.
I know, and I'm right-handed, so like for me, but I'm so used to drum set that I want to kind of ride with my right hand,
Right.
so I can capture the rhythm faster that way. But my left, I'm like doing that. I'm like, woo!
Oh, yeah, totally.
Yeah, that's great. It's great.
Just getting a workout.
That's right. So how do you? So you play in a local group called the Nobodies. How do you incorporate these rhythms and what you do into that band?
I hear the song that we're an all original band.
Okay.
So basically, when I hear a new song or hear the song, then I go through my files
Okay.
and
Yep.
go fit, and then try to see what rhythm seems to feel good inside it, basically, and kind of use these as a foundation, or the West African rhythms as like a foundation for having some thoughts of what rhythm I'm going to bring to the table.
Okay.
So so you guys all write your own music, and then what kind of style what kind of genre does that fit into?
We're all over the place. I guess we ska, soul, reggae, funk, surf, Afro rock.
All right, that's
Nice.
great.
Yes.
Totally get that whole arc.
Kind of. So whatever song was written, some of them are soul, some of them are funk.
Okay.
Some of them, are more South African style or have a feel from South Africa. Because Ryan, our bassist and lead singer, and who wrote most of the songs, and a founding member, but he's from Zimbabwe.
Oh, okay.
And grew up there, and then moved to London, and has international experience and an accent to go with it, and draws from his experiences to write his songs. And so has brought to the table a lot of multiple genres, but definitely got that ska thing going from Ryan and the reggae and
Cool.
soul.
Do you and the drummer and the bass player really connect on stuff like that? Is that kind of, you guys workshop stuff on your own as a trio?
We actually don't workshop.
Yep. It's hard to in a band.
Yeah, we work as the gang when we're at rehearsals.
And so you bring it all to the
And
table.
we bring it all to the table,
cool.
and everybody sort of just does what they, I think, have in their brain.
Right.
Sometimes some people might have a particular thing they want to hear.
Mm-hmm.
Jesse on our keys, Jesse Turner, who writes songs, like he might have a line in his mind already for the horn or, for the bass, or I could say, hey, I've been playing it this way, even though I'm not a bassist, but this is what was in my head. This
Right.
is, and then start there, and then it just develops. So it might be our foundation for how we bring a song to the table, but then we're only capable of doing what we can all do. We might not be able to hear or be able to do the vision of the person that made it, but
Right.
we make some conglomeration that ends up being the band vision, I guess, for
Yep.
the song.
Yep.
Right.
That's how it comes together a lot of times. That reminds me of Whiskey Stomp and different projects. I love, when someone brings an original to the table. If I'm bringing an original to the table, I definitely want people's not only input but their I don't know, just their style. Yeah, exactly. Like, I couldn't tell Kendall how to play a lead or whatever, that's, I want him to sound like him, not me.
Totally.
Try to sound like me,
Yeah.
So, that's way cool. That's awesome.
There's definitely been some Whiskey Stomp tunes. I could think of the one that has lots of words. What is the name of that song that you
Vital
wrote?
Connection.
Vital Connection.
Yes.
Thank you. He sings a lot of words all at once. But that song was a little more orchestrated. Like you had ideas in mind in terms of what should the guitar player play.
Yep. Yeah.
But
Absolutely.
it becomes really organic when the band all works together to kind of complete a sound.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm more of a drummer brain making a song. Like, for instance, for my songs, I could be like, all right, these are my words. I don't even know what key it's in. Let's first figure out what key it's in and what notes am I singing, and then make up the song from there. That's what we did for one of them.
Cool. And what's the name of that song?
Chopping Wood.
Chopping Wood. And you played that at the Belly Up?
Yeah.
Okay. And
Totally.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
So, how was the show at the Belly Up?
That was amazing.
Yeah.
Belly Up's such a fun stage for sound, especially.
Yes.
And they
Especially
get
if
you
you like
dialed
kick drum.
in, and you get that big bass down, which is really awesome for the type of music we play. Just you fill up the whole room with that bass. Ryan gets to, and you feel the stage shaking. It's awesome. Yeah.
And you guys opened up for the Wailers, correct?
we did.
How was that? Did you guys have any interaction with them?
Yeah, on and off stage.
Sure,
I mean, we didn't have access to the green room. They cut us off for that. But
Yep.
we had interaction with them on stage, and then when we were doing our crossover for sound checking, and then afterwards, their manager gave us props.
Cool.
Nice.
So that was
Awesome,
cool.
awesome.
He said, that drummer girl's legit.
Well,
There
you
you go.
are.
I took it. I was like, I'll take that.
Nice.
Absolutely. Well,
Totally.
it's been awesome. It's been so good to have you, Jessie.
Yeah,
It
this
really
is so fun. We got to
Yep.
jam more.
I know. Yep. Let's do one more jam.
Okay.
I'm gonna just do a groove on the kit,
Okay.
and I'm gonna make you fall in with me this time.
Okay.
All right. You
See
got
what
this.
happens.
You got
Okay,
this.
cool. Some weird 17/14
Yeah.
rhythm.
No.